Ladies and gentlemen, this is podcast number 5. It's number 5, right? Mate?
Number 5 already.
Number 5 of the old school movements. By now, you know what it is. If you don't, welcome. Let me introduce you to what we're doing here. Introduce you to what we're doing here. That doesn't make sense, but let me introduce you to the crew here. And I'll explain what we're doing and what this is. This is the old school movements, where we talk old school stuff, whether it's retro sweets, fashion, food. What else, man? What else do we give people on this show?
Music, TV, film,
everything.
Anything old school.
You know, like if you remember like high-tech trainers, if you remember Soda Streams, if you remember Woolworths, then this is the show for you. Now,
so what are we talking about this week?
Yeah. So, this week. You know when you were young, yeah? We just run around the house, wasn't it? Run around the house. All you had was 3 channels back in those days.
Not much on telly.
Not much on telly. You know, weren't enough rooms to run around in.
Need to entertain yourself somehow.
Entertain yourself. So, yeah, you had your Star Wars figures and whatever figures you had now and again, but you wanted to explore more. You wanted to go, you know.
Go out and play.
And when you was allowed out, you know. But the first out was when out was when the playground out. Yeah.
First experience of playing out.
Playground. Doing your own thing.
Playground at school, yeah.
Playground at school, do you know what I mean? And games used to play then were like, Had.
It.
They call it it now.
There's loads of different names in it. Had, it, yeah. You know, run outs or
British
same
Bulldog.
sort of thing.
British Bulldog, yeah. But British Bulldog was different. Because Had was like, you just had and then you had.
Yeah.
British Bulldog was like
2 teams.
2 teams, wasn't it? Did it
rush
start with one person on
Rush
one side?
Yeah, there was one
and a squad of people on one
Yeah.
side. And
You
then
had to rush them.
and whoever he had it joined him. It was like it's
Yeah.
early zombie days.
Yeah.
They should have called it zombie because whoever got tapped was it as well. And they joined you and had to.
Yeah, until there was only one left.
Was that it?
Yeah, that was it.
Bulldog.
British
Bulldog,
That was
bro.
Bulldog.
That was a big game.
Do you remember what's the time, Mr. Wolf?
Yeah.
What's the time, Mr. Wolf? 2 o'clock. I don't know what happened.
And you had to.
No, yeah, it was the same.
Something like that.
Same
Before the
layout,
person
same
was
layout as British Bulldog. One person in front, a line of you.
Yeah.
But the person in front would have his back to the line. The line would have to creep up as he's talking. And then at any time he could turn around, he
was
can
the
run.
steps, like 7 o'clock, so he stepped
1
7
o'clock.
steps.
What's 2 o'clock?
Yes.
That was the steps. But I think at any time he could turn around. The person against the wall talking, they could turn around and chase one to tag them.
I think if you turn around,
That's a
and
bit
saw
too
you
complicated
moving,
now, man. I'm 5 years old.
if we saw you moving,
If we saw you moving, you were out. Whatever.
Are
You
you
were
sure?
out. Yeah, it was something like that.
That sounds a bit too complicated for 5-year-olds.
Nah.
Like something like that.
That's
I remember there was another one that was like 2 teams either side. You stood off against each other and you had to make it through, but I can't think what that one was called. I thought that was Bulldog, but no, Bulldog is the one where it's just 1 against a few. I can't remember what that one was.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you guessed by now, but we're talking games. But we're not just going to be talking about British Bulldog and playground games, because we're starting back when we were little to games that you play now. So we're saying board games, we're saying computer games. You know, computer games, we waited an hour for it to load, and it might crash halfway through. You have to start again. It might get chewed up. Yeah, so we're going to go there, and then we're going to go consoles, and then
Arcade games.
Arcade games, used to go Funfair and arcade. So we're going to go through all the retro games that we used to love, ones that we personally chose. You know, we obviously ain't going to get through every game on the universe, but we're going to go through the ones that, you know, the highlight ones that we liked, that we used to spend our 10p's on. But some games are 20p and some were even 50p. But we'll get to that later. So let's go back and start with the outdoor games. So we said like British Bulldog, we said it. Do you remember when you got a bit older and you could go on the estate around the corner or whatever, and there was run-outs?
Yeah, man.
A squad of you.
You had to reach a base.
And you had to reach a base, someone's at a base, and you would hide all different places, and someone had, and the first search, there was a search party looking for you, your 5 people looking for your 5 people, and every time they catch you, then they start looking for you as a zombie tactic, and they are looking for you. And then the last one that has to get back to base.
It's good if you had like a big park close by, playing it in the park.
We used to play it in Red Brick Estate. It's wicked in there because they've got all the walkways along the top, so you can go up there and come out the other side, and no one really knows where you are, kind of thing.
Yeah. Those days, man. You know. But a game that's dangerous and that could never be repeated again, but only worked in the 80s, knockdown ginger.
Yeah. Everyone had a go.
Remember it doesn't matter what age you were, knockdown ginger was risk for all.
Yeah, risk for all. But there was always one in your group that would do it. That would always do it without you knowing.
Without
run
you know.
off
They
before
were the
you know
worst
it.
knockdown gingers.
They're the
They're
worst
just
ones.
talking about something and then slap letterbox.
Yeah.
Everyone has to run.
Yeah.
Oh my god, you couldn't do that now.
Nah.
Do you remember that?
You know what? We should do that now.
I
go out
remember the
right
days
now.
we used to run all the way through an estate and flap every
Yeah,
letterbox,
I
side
do.
to side.
That's
Oh my! Oh no! That was
Yeah.
yeah.
You
the
don't,
adrenaline rush.
you don't see or hear of that
Exactly.
anymore. Yeah. I think there's more. I don't know, more
Knockdown
danger about that.
ginger,
But
man.
ginger,
Come
knocking on people's
that-
houses.
Ladies and gentlemen, you used to play. Do you remember playing Knockdown Ginger? Come on, everybody played
Everyone had a
Knockdown
go, yeah.
Ginger, man. As Stax would say, the adrenaline rush of just knocking it right.
Get the chase.
It
for
is
someone.
quite evil, like, you know.
Thinking about
Your
it
kids,
now,
you didn't
like, yeah.
care, you know. So you know that they're the outdoor games, but you can only really do them in some holidays. Them games really work some holidays because one, it was hot and you'd play out, and two, when it got dark, you had to be in, and it got dark pretty early
Yeah.
in the winter time. So you'd be in,
Holidays, you're out late.
and you know, you'd play a board game. You know, especially around Christmas times when families together. But when you're in, like on a weekend, it's raining or something. What were you guys, Chris? What was your favourite board game to play, man?
You had like two different types. You had the board games that you play with your family, and then you'd have the other types of sort of board games or tabletop games that you could just play with your mates.
Yeah.
So I don't know. As a family, it's got to be like the classics: Monopoly,
Yeah.
Cluedo,
Yeah.
those sort of the classic games that we all played. But then when your mates come around, you had like Downfall.
Oh, Downfall.
Connect
was
Four.
wicked, man. Did anybody remember Downfall?
Downfall,
Did you
yeah.
explain Downfall to them?
It was like safe cracking, wasn't it? When you were like 5, it was like cracking a safe.
Yeah.
You put a little disc, I think, in the top.
Yep.
And there was 5 or 6 sort of cog wheels that you had to.
Yeah.
I can't remember. What did you take it in turns?
You took
or-
it in turns, like you were orange, another one was yellow, and you were side to
because
side.
the cogs were sort of offset. Like your one,
Yeah.
you could make mine drop down before your one dropped down. But then you wouldn't know of it. You might hear it, but you really wouldn't know. And then I could turn the next one, but your one might drop down. And
That's
it was
right.
whoever's dropped out the bottom
That's right. Whoever had no more
got through there as
Things.
the first sort of thing.
Downfall. Come
That
on, you
was good.
guys
Downfall
got to
was
remember. That's
wicked.
an 80s
It was
classic.
so
guys.
basic again.
Yeah,
It's a
but like
wicked
Connect
game.
4 is so basic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Connect 4 is
That
another
still
one.
game.
works.
Still
you know,
classic
it's
now,
still
yeah.
it's still
Kids love it
challenging.
today,
You
kids
know.
love it today,
Yeah. So I liked Downfall as well.
Downfall was good.
But I liked also the fun game. I like the Hungry Hippos.
Good hippos.
Hungry Hippo. I always see the advert.
That
of
game's
one,
frantic though.
Yeah, just
There's no skill
Yeah,
involved. It was just how quick you
it's a
could
bit
bash
mad. Yeah.
a little lever to make your hippo eat all these little balls to
yeah.
collect, and then whoever
Yeah.
got the most one.
And it's a game that I'd never played, but it's like the Yahtzee.
Yahtzee. I can't even what it was.
I
have no idea
I
what
remember
that is.
Yahtzee.
Yahtzee. I think it was a dice game, wasn't it?
Yes,
Dice
it
game
was
or something.
something. It was something. But fun games again. Come back to fun games. Buckaroo. Again, that was
big
real.
game,
Like
yeah, Buckaroo
taking the
was good.
stuff off the donkey, right?
Or was
Perfection.
it putting it on?
Is that one? Was it Perfection?
Oh, what's
And it had like it was like red and yellow, I think, and it had lots
I
of
don't
different.
know how you played that, but like a dome in the middle and it had dice in it, two dice in it.
No. I remember that game. That's a
was
different
that.
game. No, it's not that.
I remember the Perfection as well. But I can't think. How you
It's like it had lots of different shapes, and you either had to put all the shapes in before the timer ended, and a whole lot popped
shut
out.
them all up. Yes, it was in a spring-loaded
Yeah.
table box
Yes,
thing. A
yes.
bit like another game that I liked. I think it was the same. Might have been the same people. It was I don't know if it was called Screwball or something, but it was a ball bearing that went around a course that had magnetic bits.
Yeah.
Yes,
And it
that
was the same
sounds
sort of
familiar.
thing, like you rocked things to make it move
That
around
sounds
a log
familiar.
pile,
That
and
sounds-
it went up a wall, and an arm dropped it here, and
Yeah.
it was more of
Yeah.
a sort of skill game than a.
I remember one Christmas when you know you have that Christmas where you got what you wanted. You know that one Christmas in your life where you got exactly what you wanted. I remember my brother got the Bionic Man. You could look through. Remember the Bionic Man with the eye?
Yeah, with the eye, yeah.
I got the Evil Knievel
The wind up.
with the wind
That
up.
was wicked.
But
That was big.
That
so
was
this is
wicked.
top. This is top Christmas.
That was a good Christmas.
And my
already.
sister got Simon. Do you remember Simon?
Ah,
the game?
Simon was big. My sister had
Yes.
Simon as well.
The four
Simon
colour
was
quarter.
big.
So,
Hey,
yes.
I swear Todd Edwards based his production on that game, Simon, man.
It was
Simon
a
had
repeat,
some sounds.
a repeat
Simon.
thing, wasn't it? Repeat colours.
Yeah, you had to
flashing.
repeat what it was flashing and the
Yeah.
rhythm and the pattern. That's still around. You get it as an app.
Yeah, you get it as an app.
Simon
Still,
Says.
But having that disc, remember that?
Yeah.
Like a steering
Push
wheel.
down on it, yeah.
Boop, 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 if you put it.
Yeah.
Simon was
Early
really-
electronic toys.
Early electronic toys. So let's just stay on electronic toys for a bit. Tommytronic.
Tommytronic, yeah.
Remember the
I had the
Tommytronic?
white one.
The sharp one.
the
the
purple
one.
I had
one.
the
I can't remember what it
I had
was
the
then.
car one, the car racing one. I still got it. I still got it. I
Oh
still
my
got it.
god, I'd like to see that.
Yeah, man.
I had the purple one, but I can't remember what it was. I think it was the spaceshipy flying.
Yeah.
thing.
Tommytronic. That was like state. That was the new
yeah.
level. Was there anything you
Yeah.
looked through before? Is that thing you'd press? The red.
Yes, the viewfinder.
the viewfinder.
with the
ColecoVision?
photos. Something like that.
ColecoVision?
Yeah, something like that. But that red.
That
yeah.
was big.
The Tommytronic, like a
A game like
Yeah.
used, personal. No one can see what you're doing. It's just you.
like
spent
little
hours on
binoculars,
that.
just
Yeah.
little
Hours
screens
on
for
it.
each eye and little
Yeah.
binoculars.
But the thing is with
VR.
It was almost
Early
like
VR.
It was early VR, but with like 2D graphics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you remember being little and wanting to play games under covers, under bed
Yeah.
covers like Astro
That was a
Wars.
perfect game. For
Yeah.
that. No,
But
you
it wasn't.
you needed light.
You needed light. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
the thing
Yeah.
with that. They just flipped the script and said, "Hey, you need the light on for
Yeah,
this one."
it had like a panel on the top.
Yeah.
Made the light come through.
Yeah, the better the
true,
light, the
that's
more
true.
you could see the screen.
Yeah.
There was another game, but I think it might have been Tommy. It weren't as advanced as that, but it was like a driving game, and it had a steering wheel. And
Yeah, a
and
red
it's-
car.
I think you might have had it.
I think I had
And
it.
it was really like budget. The car just moved left
Yeah,
to right.
yeah, yeah.
I always
But
wanted
the road
that.
moved. I always wanted it.
I
I,
always
think that.
wanted that.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think I
yeah.
did have that.
It was good, man. It was you just
Yeah.
followed this road, didn't it?
Yeah,
The road
yeah,
was like
yeah.
graphics.
Yeah.
But I think it was more like a rolling picture
Yeah.
or something at
Yeah,
the time.
yeah.
Even like later on, they made little games like that, and you just move the
Yes.
car from left to
Yeah.
right, and it's just a little
To dodge
handheld
things
thing.
or to
Yeah.
go- yeah.
That's right.
I always wanted
hours,
that.
man.
Yeah, that.
Whenever I
that
think of Tommytronic, I think of that.
Tommytronic,
I'm sure
Yeah,
it's
because
man.
it had the
driving.
gear stick and the steering
That's
wheel,
right.
and that's what you
I can't
wanted.
remember the name
you
of
wanted
it,
that.
but
It
yeah.
was like your first driving
Exactly.
experience.
That's right.
man.
That's right. That's right.
It's wicked.
And also, Nintendo with the first Donkey Kong double screen.
Yeah.
We should have seen from there. These guys were
That was
onto
really-
something.
that was next level
Yeah,
of
a double
handheld
screen
game,
game. Like,
Never
and,
seen nothing
and the
like
funny
that.
thing is, the game wasn't about Mario. It was just about you getting rid of this monkey at the top. You didn't know who this guy was.
Yeah, it's true.
Trying to get rid of the monkey. Do you know what I mean?
It was Donkey Kong, innit?
Yeah,
It was like
this game was called Donkey Kong.
That's still going today.
Still going today.
still
And where's
churning
Donkey Kong?
out.
Mario's taking all the money from Donkey
Yeah,
Kong.
yeah,
Donkey's like, hey, I started this,
Yeah,
man.
it's true.
He's got his own games out now. So Charlotte got one for Christmas, Donkey Kong Kingdom or something.
But Mario's still.
Mario's still, yeah. He's,
You know.
everyone knows
But
Mario.
all
But yeah,
those,
that
all,
game-
and then they had Donkey Kong Jr.
Yeah.
Didn't they?
Yeah.
But single
yeah, one
Diddy
was-
Kong. You remember that
Diddy
Yeah.
Kong, yeah.
that game?
Diddy Kong. They
And
had a Popeye version.
They had
of
a
it as
Popeye.
well.
I had a Popeye one,
Popeye
and that
one,
got a
yeah.
bit more advanced. But you could
Yeah.
lift the screen with
Yeah.
light on it, and it was a bit
Yeah.
more animated.
Yeah,
I had
them
the-
handheld game things were wicked.
I had the orange one, Donkey Kong
That
one.
was
Yeah,
that
that's
was
the
the
main
I
original.
can't remember
original.
where that one went, but I had that for quite a while. And I had the purple one, which was the Mario Brothers one.
Yes.
That opened like a book.
Yes, there was so many of those games out, but you had to
Yeah.
choose wisely.
Yeah.
But you could always trust in Nintendo ones. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But there was some budget ones that just
Yeah.
didn't do anything. But I remember I had a He-Man or Masters of the Universe
There
one.
was a Masters of the
Yeah, it
Universe
was He-Man
one.
was going in Castle Grayskull and
Wow,
getting
yeah.
things out of the Castle Grayskull.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow, I forgot about that entirely.
Yeah. So that got the board games, had the outdoor games, the electronic games, and then as technology progressed, we got to like Spectrum and and computers. Remember
Home
Tomorrow's World
computers.
introducing these new things called computers.
Every home will have one.
Yeah.
Well, my brother had an Atari. Is it? The black one.
The original one. Wasn't it?
2600?
I think it's something like that. I had an ST. I sort of jumped that when I went to it. I think it was an
that's-
Atari 2100 ST or something.
Oh,
So it looked similar, but it was brown and chrome sort of colour.
Yeah.
But I only had 2 games for it.
Right.
Pac-Man and some space game, but I hardly ever played that.
That's
it was a
it.
bit hard.
Pac-Man had
Pac-Man
to be
was
the
good
game,
though,
though,
yeah.
innit?
Pac-Man
Pac-Man
was
was
the
the
game.
We're gonna go back to the Spectrum. We gotta go back to Ataris,
You're
man.
back,
Yeah,
to
man. We gotta
Atari.
do this in order, man.
Yeah,
this
we
is dead.
Take it even further back to them. I remember them Binatone Grandstand
Yeah.
console. It had 4 games, and then they released one with the 6 games. You had the little gun for the shooting game.
What was it called again? Tell the listeners what
I think it was Binatone.
Yeah, anyone remember that?
Grandstand.
I don't
And
know.
they also released it as in television as well.
Yeah.
I think it was kind of similar.
Yeah.
And you had a plug-in gun. You done like skeet shooting, and You had sort of the Pong game was on it, the original. 2 bats.
Yeah.
The
Basic, but
just
so much fun, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, I said it's television that I had.
That's probably the 70s. Back to the 70s, thinking about it.
And the Atari, I can't remember. Centipede was on the Atari. I remember Centipede, Space Invaders.
I think Atari must have been like the first home console that I think I can remember. Atari must have been.
It was definitely. I didn't have one.
There was a game called Chicken Run as well.
On Atari, on the first Atari.
It was like I don't know what they call it now. You know, basically you got to run across the road before you get knocked down by something. Crossy roads, I think it is
like
now.
Frogger.
Frogger, yeah. But this one's called Chicken Run. I remember my brother had it, and he used to trade his games with his friend at the top of the road.
Yeah.
So we'd have like Chicken Run for a little bit, and I might be lucky enough to have a couple go because I'd be like 3-4 years old, and he's like, "No, I don't want you to touch it because you're gonna break it." So, you know, I might have a little go and a little bit of Pac-Man and then that's it.
Yeah. Time was limited back in the days.
Limited, and plus there was only one television.
Exactly.
So when your parents want to watch TV, you can't be playing games.
No, you could be in the middle of the game. It doesn't matter where you are. You could have just put a game in. It doesn't matter. Crossroads is on.
Turn it off.
You know what
but
I mean?
in them games, in them days, think about that. From what I remember from the Atari, it was a cartridge and it loaded pretty quick.
Yeah.
Whereas then a few years later, we all stepped up to like the new Commodores, the Sinclairs, which were better in graphics, but they were cassette tapes. That took ages to load, and they sound like a fax machine.
If they even loaded.
Exactly.
The amount of times they'd crash.
But do you know the thing is?
That's when piracy was big though, because you could just copy. The way you used to lend it to your friend, but you could just take his one for the day, copy it, give it back to him. You've got it.
But the thing is, the reason why we waited for those games to load because they were the games we played in arcades.
It was getting closer to the games we played.
No. What I'm saying, it was the games, but the graphics were nowhere near.
Yeah.
So, like, we went to arcades. Like, the best places to go to find arcades was always when the fun fair
always
came
the local
down.
fairs.
The fun fair was just...
We're on the seaside.
But you couldn't get to seaside living in. But when the fun fair came to town, the first place I'm going is bumper cars and arcades. But arcades is like, you know... Imagine waiting to play games. You can just play a game right now when you want now. But back then you had to wait to play the top game. It wasn't even Trocadero yet. You know what I mean? To play the top game, you have to wait for a fun fair to come town, or a chip shop might have a sly game.
Or the odd video shop.
But
that's where we probably found a lot of our arcade gaming. But apart from the classic ones, like you say, if you wanted to play Sit Down Outrun.
Sit down.
So that's what we're going to get to. So do you remember Paperboy?
Running over the cat.
Right? You run over a cat?
I'm sure you could run over a cat in it. You could run over a cat in it, and the cat ran out.
I remember you could throw papers at the window, smash windows.
Yeah, but then cats would run out. You'd have to jump off the curb, jump back on the curb, cross the road.
Yeah.
Paperboy was big. And then you went at the end of the level, you ended up in like a bike park at the end of the level. Remember, you ended up in a ramp park. You had to do like one big jump at the end or something. Paperboy was
one of the best games.
Paperboy was bad. That was around sort of Space Harrier days, wasn't it?
Yeah. So, Chris, tell us some of your classic arcade games.
Arcade games, right. One of my all-time favourites, worst graphics ever, is the sit-down Star Wars.
You know what? When you say, I don't think it's worst graphics ever.
It's not.
Basic of it.
It works wicked.
They weren't great graphics,
but they were just lines. They were lines.
I think it worked.
It works wicked. It could, because in the film, I think it had the same sort of heads-up lines. You saw it in the film, so it felt like you were in an X-wing, and it had the same sort of the controller that banked and moved, like, and it just felt, I don't know, with the speakers, with the voices and the sound effect. It was. You
had the music. You were in the X-wing. It had that feel.
Dropping into the trench and then ducking underneath and over the bits of blocking it.
It had that feel for me.
Taking out cannons.
But the thing with Star Wars, like Afterburner, like Outrun Like Space Harrier, is an expensive game. Did you want to part from your £1? And just play 2 games?
Yeah.
Or spread it out and play Double Dragon.
10 games,
Play
Golden Axe.
Play Golden Axe, play Bomb Jack, play Chase HQ.
Chase HQ.
Play a couple of games at a 1020p.
Yeah.
Because when it's Outrun time, it's 50 to £1 sometimes. You know what I mean?
The Outrun was... You know, sometimes it was worth it. You had
sometimes if you're bored,
I remember the first time seeing it. At a fair.
I remember hearing some music.
Yeah.
What's that in the car going from side to side? the hell? Everyone's standing up playing games. This is the guy sitting down playing the game. What is this?
Moving as you know, moving about.
Love-
I've got to have a go at that. But yeah, like you say, like they were like the Premier League of arcade
Premier
games.
League games, man.
You had the Afterburner, the Hang On with the motorbike.
Super Hang
Super
On.
Hang On.
Was there
Enduro Racer.
Enduro Racer, like Scrambler bike.
Scrambler
Yeah.
bike one, yeah.
Yeah.
They were like the sit-on, hang-on ones were like the
Wicked
Premier
games,
League.
man.
Yeah,
Wicked.
for the stand-up ones, like some of them that you were saying though, the Double Dragon, you know, that was a classic, man.
Classic.
I played
10p
that.
game, man.
That's early Street Fighter, really.
Yeah.
I like that more than Street Fighter.
Really?
Playing that, yeah. That was
The
a
thing
good
is,
one.
go on, sorry.
Sorry, no, go on talk about that.
When I first saw Street Fighter, like, because Double Dragon figures were small, and these Street Fighter people were big, and they could fit the screen.
And had more detail.
It had more
they had
detail.
more
I thought,
detail.
wow, this is the next,
more
this is the next
Japanese
level.
looking.
Yeah.
But then it was the next level. That was the next generation.
was
That
next
was
generation,
yeah, and it took off so many games that
At the time,
came after
at
it.
the time, there was like Streets of Rage. This is like the small cartoony characters that you're talking about, where you had a chain or a whip or a bottle you could throw or a knife.
Yeah.
And there was another game called Renegade.
I was just about to say
Renegade was
Yeah.
wicked. It's
Renegade
like
was a big
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
Renegade was bad.
That was on. Was that an arcade game?
Yeah.
Yeah. But that was
But
also
It
on
was on a
like-
console.
But
as
exactly,
well.
yeah. And that's what I'm saying. We waited for these games to load because there were games that we played in the arcades. So I remember Renegade did come out on tapes, and then Target Renegade
Yeah.
was massive on the Commodore 64. They had remember Commodore 64. I think they always had the best graphics. Remember
Yeah, always
Amstrad
slightly
Spectrum,
better.
and
Always
Commodore
Spectrum,
always had
64,
that
yeah.
edge on Daley Thompson's decathlon.
Yeah. But that was expensive. Though.
California games and
Yeah,
stuff.
I didn't have a Commodore.
I didn't have.
Yeah.
I had an Amstrad.
Yeah,
but I remember
whenever you
Spectrum was first. I remember
Yeah.
playing Spectrum. What games?
Yeah. I missed the first Spectrum. I remember a couple of our friends had the little tiny keyboard with the rubber keys.
The Spectrum ZX.
ZX.
The ZX. I think
And
mine
we
was
had
the
ZX Plus.
+2. ZX
two.
+2.
The grey one with the
Grey
built-in
one with the
cassette
built-in
deck.
cassette.
I
That's
still
the
got
one.
it.
Still got it.
Still
Wow.
got it.
Whoa,
And
man.
I still got the games as well.
Oh
What
no.
games you got?
I think Double Dragon's in there.
No.
ER
oh
Kung
my
Fu.
God.
Yeah,
the
Kung
Kung
Fu.
Fu. I was gonna talk about.
Do you remember
that?
that one?
Day.
Match Day.
I can't believe you still got. You
Hold
didn't
on.
think that out.
Green Beret.
Oh no, Green Beret.
Hold on. what
Ocean
else is there?
Games.
Ocean Games.
Ocean
Yeah.
Games. They were like the
Games
EA
were
Sport.
major.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ocean,
the old
Elite,
days.
Yeah.
Delta East.
Yeah.
They had all these, Kaidomi.
Yeah, Konami. Yeah, they've done some good ones.
Yeah, remember, that's what I'm saying. It was transfer, because you wanted that experience that you had in the arcade. Remember, I said arcades only came, fun fairs only came 3 times a year. But how could you fill those gaps and play games at home? And when we had the Spectrum, the Amstrad and the Commodore, we had a bit of that arcade feel, but there were games that we remembered,
Brought
classic
it into your
games.
living room.
But I remember I had the Amstrad and it came with a green screen, so there's no other colour apart from the green screen.
But you had your own screen.
But yeah, you had
But
your own
we didn't have our
monitor,
own
you had your
screen.
own TV
Yeah.
that came with the Amstrad.
But we had to
Link it up.
You
and
should
share
we had to
it.
link up
TV
to the
that was in the house.
television,
Yeah.
so we had
Yeah.
less time. You probably had
Yeah.
more time when you
But
was
no, but the thing is, I then got a converter so I can put it in the TV, and then it's a whole new world. The graphics, I saw it in all its glory.
It played in colour.
I didn't know
played
you
in
could
colour.
do that.
It played in
Crazy, like,
full colour.
that you would get a green
Yeah.
screen with it.
Yeah.
But the game's
It's either
capable
buy a
of colour.
monitor that shows green, or buy something cheaper that you can plug into the TV and play in colour.
That's crazy.
What would you rather do? Do you know what I mean?
it's not good
And one of the
marketing, is it?
classic games I would play on it is Death Wish 3. Remember Charles Bronson?
Free.
There was a game of that for kids. They promoted a violent film.
There was 18 rated games.
It was the
back in the
first.
day, but
It was the first of its kind.
no
in
one would
that-
check. You would just buy them anyway.
Just buy it.
But yeah,
Exactly.
I remember
Yeah.
Death Wish 3.
It was the first of its kind, to be like Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
You
I was going to say, there's a bit of driving,
yeah,
a bit of
drive
walking
in,
about.
You can get ammo. You
Yeah.
bust. You do drug raids. You shoot
Yeah.
the criminals. You take their guns.
Yeah.
The ambulance, the paramedics come. You can kill the paramedics. Shoot the paramedics. So what's going on here? But yeah, it was a fun game. Death
Yeah.
Wish 3. Charles Bronson, go play it.
The graphics weren't as detailed.
No.
Probably
Not
won't go
arcade
over it.
style.
No, but it's just the
Not
thrill
to
that you
what,
had
like,
this
yeah.
game in your house. And I remember when you first had computers, some games you had to use a keyboard to move
Yeah,
around.
to
But when
move around, yeah.
the joystick came
Yeah.
around,
Yeah.
it was
If you were lucky enough to be able to wire it up and get it working, then yeah, joysticks made life a bit easier. There'd be some games where you'd need both joystick, and then you still have to use a bit of keyboard.
You know, like
as well.
those aircraft simulators. You'd
I
have to
kinda liked
use
them,
joystick
actually.
and
Yeah, I
the
kinda liked
keyboard.
some
They
of
were
them
so difficult. I
simulators.
couldn't get my head around it.
And also other games on my Amstrad, it's Rolling Thunder.
Rolling
I
Thunder.
loved it in the
love Rolling
arcade.
Thunder, yeah.
I bought it on tape.
That was a very close, almost as good as the arcade at home, really, wasn't it? It was one of them.
Rolling
was getting
Thunder.
into
I loved that game.
that good standard now.
Yeah.
Rolling Thunder was wicked.
And also had what other games did I have?
That was a sort of also remind me a bit of Shinobi, the way it was laid out.
Yeah.
Shinobi.
Yeah, we're gonna get to Shinobi soon, but
Yeah, that was
going
next
back a
generation,
bit.
actually.
When we were at school, Chris, in primary school, and our mate Alex, every Friday, he'd get a gift.
get
One
something.
Friday, what did he get, man?
Mum bought me a Vex Trex.
Do you guys remember what Vex Trex is?
Trex.
I've only seen it once in the flesh, in its Vex Trex glory, and that's that day.
Yeah.
And Alex got one.
What's that?
Yeah.
Stacks is looking confused.
It was a like a built-in monitor. It was meant to be like a portable games console, but it was a 9-inch monitor mounted sideways, so it was long, and it was in like a case, and it had a joystick thing that pulled out the front, which was like the width of the case, with a little joystick, a few buttons, and again it was a black and white screen. You remember the classic game Scramble with the sort of mounting backdrop at the bottom, little spaceship that goes across the top shooting things. Classic Scramble. That was probably like the main feature game. It come with only 10 games. I don't think you could get any more games on it. But what was weird about it was a black and white screen, but the games came with like lighting gels, like pieces of plastic that you would put over the front of the screen to make them either green or orange. And it was just, it was for the time. It was like, wow, what's that thing, man? We need to play that. I remember us going back to his house and playing it. I think that day.
I don't think I played it.
That day, you must have played it with him. You must have played it. And I think another game, Vortex or something, but it was the one where it was more like asteroids. You're the little ship in the middle and you just shoot around blasting asteroids. It had that in it.
Oh, yes.
And I think the only shop that I can remember in Chiswick that sold it was Woolworths.
Yeah, man. Woolworths had anything. Penny Sweets, Panther Trainers, Vex Trex.
Panther Trainers.
Yeah, the Panther man.
Panther Trainers.
How did you remember that?
Football boots, the Panther football boots.
I probably had
Panther
a
Trainers.
Yeah,
Oh
man.
my God.
Remember them? All the Velcro strap ones.
Yeah.
Remember the Velcro strap with that colour, that colour that would shift?
Yeah, shimmer, yeah. Rainbow colours.
Yeah,
come on, man.
D.
I only remember for the sweets and toys. I forgot
Nah,
about
that
that.
everything was there for you.
Everything.
They lost in that
Haberdashery,
shop.
Yeah, a bit around.
toys,
It was like a mini department store.
Stereos. Oh, mate.
Some of them had calves in them.
laces,
Your laces, shoe polish.
like everything.
Everything you wanted,
everything.
man.
But I remember they sold the Vex Trex. I remember I first see it there.
Yeah, that
I was
was
shocked. I was shocked when we see Alex had it, had got it, man. Straight from school, he was there. He was like, oh no, I need to play that.
Yeah. But I'll say later on we got these Spectrums and Commodores and Amstrad and that. Then Amiga coming. Remember the Amiga tried to take over?
Yeah. That was Commodore. Was it Commodore?
That's Commodore Amiga. But after that, there was it drifted. It wasn't
there was
popular for a bit.
there was also the Atari ST
Atari ST.
at the same time.
Yeah. But I think games got less coming out and stuff. And there was it feels like a couple of years happened where there was no game. No one was playing games. And it just and then the Sega Master System just came and said, okay, we're back. Do you know what I mean?
And that was arcade in your home.
That was arcade. That was when it
Didn't
stepped
the
up.
Nintendo come out before that?
No,
I'm
sure
it
the
may
Sega.
have got launched worldwide before, but I think in the UK I remember Sega coming out.
Sega Master
It was the
System.
first decent home console,
Yeah.
arcade style.
Yeah.
The same games, what we were just talking about, Outruns,
Had
Space
all the
Harriers,
Sega. Sega.
any Sega.
Because they were
title.
Sega games.
All Sega games.
Outrun,
yeah.
Space Harrier, Golden Axe, Gauntlet.
Altered Beast.
Altered Beast.
Yeah, Altered Beast. That was a
Oh
good
no, that
game.
wasn't a Master System, was it?
I'm sure it was.
think
No,
it
no,
was.
that was Mega Drive.
No,
It was on Mega Drive as well, but I don't know if that come out on Master System.
I don't remember
probably
it
weren't
coming out
Master
Master
System, probably Mega Drive, yeah. But still a Sega
They had
thing.
the most basic covers.
Oh,
But like maths paper.
the
like
mass
some
paper
photos.
square
But-
with just a picture of.
But I remember when you bought the Rocky game.
The
man,
Rocky
and
game.
The Rocky game was.
was
Anyone
hard
remember
to
the
get.
Rocky game?
That
Do
was
you remember the
hard
Rocky
to get.
game? You could make Mr. T fight Durago
It was
or
bad.
Apollo fight.
It was wicked.
Yeah, it was his first boxing game that I liked.
Yeah,
played.
you had a little bit of training in between.
Training bits and that, because you still wanted to play Street Fight or whatever the arcade, but they weren't on consoles yet. You still had to wait. They were on tape. I remember I had Street Fight on tape, Street Fighter 1 on tape on my Amstrad.
Okay.
It was nothing like what I wanted, in the arcades.
They come a bit later.
Yeah, I think I had that on Spectrum as well.
Yeah, on tape.
And it was nothing like
The front cover was right.
No,
Everything was right.
I had that.
And
The Street Fighter 2, when that came out, everyone was like, "Wow, that's much better than Street Fighter 1 was rubbish."
Yeah, on that tape. But there's so many Kung Fu games on tape. So I said earlier on, Kung Fu.
Yeah, Kung Fu.
Renegade.
That was never an
Renegade.
arcade game, was it? That was
Kung Fu one.
That was like
That was just a
strictly
really
But
good game.
remember Kung Fu? Like,
Just Kung Fu,
These people just running towards you, just kicking it. Remember Bruce Lee?
Bruce Lee game.
Yeah.
Bruce Lee game, man. That was on the Spectrum. I remember playing it on the
Yeah,
Spectrum.
it's a Bruce Lee game. Spectrum had a good, but all of them consoles at the time, they had a good
A lot
selection
of
of
Kung
games.
Fu games.
Like you were saying with the Death Wish, there was a lot of, they were getting into the film crossovers, because I remember getting Cobra, Stallone film.
Yeah, the game of
Cobra,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was good.
And we were saying the other day, the game Barbarian.
Barbarian, man, yeah.
The Barbarian, you could chop off their heads to a spin.
Yeah. Barbarian was good.
Barbarian, man. But again, you had to wait for it to load for 2 hours and it might crash. So moving to consoles. So consoles, I'm going to say the Rocky, the Space Harriers on there. Shinobi was
good.
Was the introductory game, and that's the game you wanted with that console.
Remember that Spider-Man in that? That's why I liked it.
Yeah.
On level 1 at the end of it, and Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I was stuck on the wall.
What about R-Type?
R-Type was good. Yeah, I got quite deep into R-Type, man. I got quite good at them ones. That was good. The first couple were good.
The thing is, sorry guys.
I don't know if that was that.
Stacks has creeped out the shadows. The guy, what about R-Type? He was rubbing his hands like so sinister. Sorry, man. Just threw me off. Sorry, Chris. What are you saying, man?
I can't remember what was going on.
Sorry. That's just crept out of the shadows, man. We were R-Type. You said R-Type on the Sega Master System.
Yeah, was that? Yeah, it was out on the Master System.
I'm sure it might have been. Or was that Mega Drive one?
I can't remember. I remember seeing it on a Mega Drive because again the graphics were that much better. The Mega Drive was when that came out, and
the Mega
Super
Drive.
Nintendo.
Yeah.
Those graphics.
But you see, when the first Nintendo come out, the games were limited on that. I just remember Duck Hunt.
Again, it was the Duck Hunt.
Mike
and
Tyson's
and
boxing, was that
There
on
wasn't. There were what console?
Remember
That was
Mike
a good
Tyson's
game.
boxing?
Yeah, that was a good game. Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson's boxing and Mario. I think I can't remember it.
I can't remember any other game.
Yeah, it was quite limited. I remember I had like a rocket launcher version of it with some shooting games. I think that was it was the SNES. I think. So.
And at that time, the hunger for the arcade was still there, but you still weren't getting the
craved
graphics.
them graphics that you saw in the
games,
arcade.
that you wanted to play. So then after that, it said the Mega Drive came about, and that's when the Golden Axe, the Altered Beasts, and all those games started coming out, and people started getting excited with those type of games. You know what I mean? There's loads of games.
What's that one with the bike? When you have to punch them off the bike. Street Rage.
Road Rash.
Road Rash.
Road Rash. I think it was Road
That was
Rash.
a big.
That was a good game.
Was that on the Mega Drive?
I don't. See,
Yeah,
I
I
didn't have
remember.
a Mega Drive. I don't know what happened to me in them.
I
I've
didn't
had
have
like
one.
a console all through since the Atari, but
Yeah.
I don't know what happened around the Mega Drive days. I can't remember from.
Missed out.
I can't remember. I remember. I think N64 maybe, or it was like I don't know if that was them days or after, but
That was after.
I don't think I had a console.
Nintendo,
around
then
the-
SNES, then N64, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I had the SNES thing.
SNES was amazing because that's when you had the arcade in your house. When they released Street Fighter 2 on
I
SNES,
think I must have.
that's when it was game over to go to arcades. I could play Street Fighter now, and it's all good. It looks like how I
Yeah,
wanted
it
it to
started
look.
looking exactly.
You know,
like
and I remember SNES had NBA Jam.
NBA Jam was good.
Would keep you indoors for ages,
NBA
man.
Jam.
You know what I
Jam.
used to like on the SNES? What's that one? Killer Instinct.
Killer
Killer
Instinct.
Instinct.
You know, we said earlier, Street Fighter was the start of all these games. I remember when Mortal Kombat first came out, I thought it was whack. I didn't like how that looked.
I didn't like it.
Didn't like the movement, but so many games came after it. Like Soul Calibur,
Soul Calibur
Killer
was a good
Instinct.
game.
And remember the one where there's a leopard dude? What one was that? that Tekken or something? There's a leopard.
Yeah, it's
dude.
And his
Tekken.
name was King.
King, yeah.
it's
Was that Tekken?
Tekken, I think. Yeah.
Yeah,
Another
yeah,
one I didn't get
Tekken.
Tekken and the Mortal Kombat ones I didn't get into too.
He had all these.
Tekken was a big game.
Tekken, yeah. I like that one.
Soul
So,
Calibur.
yeah,
That Tekken was on PS1.
yeah, that's right.
That was one of their probably launch games.
Yeah, they
I would
launched
say.
it.
Yeah,
I used to
yeah.
play that for hours.
Again, I
till
didn't.
5 in the morning.
I didn't get into PlayStation at first. Took me a while. I was a big Sega.
Oh, you missed out.
I was
man.
Sega all the time, so I would have been. I'd have been into what then? The Saturn. I'd have had the Saturn and Sega Rally.
Sega Rally was good. Sega Rally
yeah, it was good.
very
A touring
good.
car. They had the Sega touring car, but again, it was all Sega games. They didn't really have like how you missed out with PlayStation. Had all Sony's games. There was loads.
You didn't even mention Sonic.
Sonic.
I wasn't a massive fan of Sonic, you know.
I think I've had a
was
good few
big.
Sonic games, but yeah.
I wasn't a massive
big,
fan.
man.
I always like fighting games.
Yeah, you got to be
Fighting.
into platform games really, which I quite like platform games. They weren't too
Bomb
far.
Jack
Sonic
was
a
really-
big game, man.
Bomb Jack was good. Yeah, Bomb Jack was a good arcade game though.
But they're making a film of Sonic now, aren't they?
No.
Yeah, there's a film. So I'll let you know when that comes about, Stacks. See it.
For
Yeah,
that one.
I don't think I'm gonna win.
No, that's gonna work.
So the PS2 is when I got more into PS games because they had Getaway.
Yeah.
Does anyone remember the Getaway? Getaway was
game.
like
GTA in London.
GTA in London, man. I used to like that, and I used to like on the PS2 then a game called Devil May Cry. And
Devil May Cry. I like that for a bit.
double gun
They got a
shooting,
little
like
bit
vampire.
annoying.
No, it was vampire
something,
hunting or
some
something.
beat. I
Yeah, I
liked
liked that. I got into that on
that
PS2. Yeah, PS2 was the first time I played that.
I liked how
I like
that
that.
game went. So Getaway, Devil May Cry, and probably FIFA were the main games.
I was late. I was
There
late
was
getting
loads
into
of games though on PS2. There
Loads,
was
I know, but they were the
loads.
ones that I was drawn to most.
PS2 was the first PlayStation I had. So like I said, I was always went down the Sega thing. So from the Saturn, I went on to the Dreamcast, which at the time it was the first console to be online. So it was the first time I actually got my own internet connection. I had my own email address, the Dreamcast like email address. It was good for that, and the gamepad had the little playable slot-in thing as well. That was quite cool. So yeah, I went down the Sega route. And when that dropped off, it was something that did. I think it was Metal Gear Solid that attracted me to PS2. So I missed out PS1 because I was playing probably the Dreamcast or whatever it was by then. And every console I've had, I've pretty much always bought them on the launch day as well and paid double the bloody price of what they're worth.
I had a PS1. Actually, I still have a PS1.
You still got like your
I still, yeah.
Man's this Harbury stuff, you know. Man's auction stuff. We're going to make another show. We're going to be auctioning off
got
all
the
stacks of
LP.
stuff, man. He's got Betamax, you know, Panther trainers, bloody hell. Those Superman 2 transfers from the Shreddies box. He's got it all. The transfer bed.
We still got a PlayStation.
And the Sinclair and whatever.
Yeah.
That's wicked.
I think if I look closely, I might still have my Amiga. My niece might have it. Yeah, it's mad. You didn't touch on handheld games like the Game Gear or the Atari Lynx.
Yeah, or the Game Boy.
Or the Game
what-
Boy,
I had
or the
the
Neo
Game
Geo.
Boy.
Neo Geo got one
Neo
out.
Geo. I was going to mention that, but I didn't play them ones.
I never got hold of a Neo Geo. I never saw one.
They
Never
were well
tried one.
expensive.
Yeah, I remember
were
them being
few and
expensive.
far
Their
between.
arcades, the graphics on their
graphics,
arcade
yeah.
games were big, but I can't remember any of the games.
I think they were all them Capcom. They were
Like
all
games, like SNK.
Yeah,
and stuff like
SNK. That's
that.
them sort of
Yeah.
manga-y looking fighting games.
Their games were
But
really
their games,
good,
the graphics
man.
were good,
Graphics
yeah.
were
And they had a
amazing.
home console Neo Geo as well,
Yeah, they did.
which I didn't really ever
really.
get to see.
I think just too expensive.
Yeah, came out not long before the Master System, but yeah, I never got to see one. You know, I had the Game Boy, Nintendo Game Boy, the green screen, and it came with like a magnifying glass that clicked over it to make the screen bigger.
And
I
had
could
a
only-
light on it as well.
a light on it, yeah, it did, a little light.
Yeah.
And I know it came with batteries,
Yeah.
and I can only remember playing Tetris on it. I can't remember what other games I had for it. But I must have had more. I remember Tetris clearly.
I definitely, you know what I'm going to say, aren't you? I've still got it. So,
Seriously, you got a
seriously,
a
yeah.
Nintendo Game
I've got a
Boy.
Nintendo Game Boy with a green screen.
Wow.
And I've still got Tetris in it. It's probably moulded itself
I was
into
saying,
it
I
now
bet
to
some of
be
these
there for
things
so long.
Molded themselves
But
together.
that is like
Wow.
literally, that's in my house. I know where it is.
Oh.
The other stuff's in storage.
That's good. That's
and yeah, it's just been there for years. I remember when my brother gave it to me for Christmas once. I can't remember. It was like probably when it first came out. I don't even know where he got it from. I'm just like, hey, and he's just like, yeah. And you know what it was? Basically, when Game Gear came out, I badly wanted one, but Mum was like, no.
Yeah, I was the same. That it had a TV adapter so you could watch telly on it, and I was like, oh, yeah. Because my friend had it, and it went into the back where the game pack goes, and it was like a normal dial, an aerial, and you dialed it in, and you picked up telly. I was like, I want that, but I want it. Plus the games were good. The games on it were quite good, but yeah, I weren't.
Castle of Illusions.
I didn't get it, man. I weren't allowed it. I got stuck with my green screen Game Boy.
What experience do you reckon to you guys was the best experience of gaming? Was it being at the arcade? Was it being with your Spectrum or tape console? Was it being with your Tomitronic or your Astro Voice? Or was it being with your console? What holds the best memories?
I've got two answers for that. For enjoyment and excitement and fun of it and the feel of a game, arcades, a sit-down arcade game, you can't beat. But for thrill and like emotion of games, sitting at home, first playing Resident Evil, lights off.
Oh gosh.
You know that experience.
Get your heart racing.
That experience. Well, it was like watching a horror film. Some of it, wasn't it? But for feeling you're in it, because you've got that sort of feeling that you're sort of sucked into that world.
Immersed in this.
You don't get that at the arcade because you've got the buzz, the noise, your mates maybe watching.
Remember the days when you knew a game was popular and there's a crowd of people over this game, especially if someone's just like badding up everyone on Street Fighter, like next.
That happened to me recently, about a couple of years ago. I went to a kids' party in a bowling alley, and obviously they got it's the only place now that's got a decent arcade, really, isn't it? Thinking about it, like the bowling alleys. And there was Tokyo Highway, which I had on. I think I had it on the Dreamcast, and I was alright at it. This Tokyo Highway, like Fast and Furious game, and I was playing it so long on this thing, it had a crowd of people around it. After a little while, there were good 10, 15 people all watching. Like, look how far this guy's got. Look where he is. And I was on it for 15 minutes. I couldn't believe I got this far. Like, it felt like I was like is it Last Starfighter?
Starfighter, yeah.
One of them?
Shit, remember that? Yeah. It always used to happen, man.
That's the only time that's happened.
People used to hog the machine.
Yeah, they were the worst.
Especially if two people playing Double Dragon and they're bossing sheets, they're getting through sheets.
Takes forever.
Hurry up. You're gonna have a go.
You want to have a go, man?
You'd get that in the chip shop at school at lunchtime, someone to be on it. And you'd be like, come on, I've got to go back to school, but we'll have a go. Get off.
I want a game. Well, guys, I hope you liked. Is that 6th podcast, is it?
Number 5. Number 5.
A 5th, sorry.
Hope you like the 5th podcast.
5th podcast. We're discussing all types of games. If you remember any games and you want to share your thoughts, just get in touch with us. We just want to interact with you guys, man, and reach out to you guys and give you the old school vibes and reminisce on the memories that we also loved and shared. You know what I mean? And we're gonna delve deep into them and try and spark that memory of refreshers and playing Paperboy and just the old school movements. I'm Mr. Lucas.
Chris.
What's that?
And we're gonna go till next time. See you later.